right, Andrew. I don't think this was much of a surprise, was it?
No, I tried to have some surprise there, but I think you might have let the cat out of the bag like a couple hours before my post there.
Yeah,
so.
I said I was going to get something to clean firewood, and there it is. And what do we have here, Andrew?
This is what we call a DRM8. It is a drum tumbler. So there's two different ways you can clean firewood right now. You have a disc screener, which we make, and then we have this is a drum tumbler. This is the first drum tumbler that we've actually made. So it's a DRM8, it's 8 feet long. The spacing on the drum itself is adjustable, or you can get different sized drums, a 1 inch, 2 inch, and 3 inch spacing on it. The advantage of this over having the disc screener is this is a lot lighter for somebody to move around. So somebody that has maybe a large compact tractor, skid steer, can easily move this around, can easily set it up. And then the cost of this is substantially less than what a disc screener is. So for an average guy that's doing firewood as a side hustle, this makes a lot of sense for him, especially if you're running a processor or a machine with a box wedge. It cleans a lot of the dirt and debris out. Like you can see just on the ground here.
That's just a few pieces of wood.
Yeah, and it takes all that chaff out of it, which is really nice. And like I said, there's different spacing depending on how much you want to take out or how big of pieces you want to get out. A lot like a gravel screener in that regards.
And the conveyor pivots.
The conveyor does skew one way or the other. So again, it's somebody that was more of an industrial production type firewood producer. Could do kiln baskets, they could do IBC totes. So you're able to skew it while one guy is running the skid steer around. So it works out really nice for that too. So we also have, this one does have the conveyor on the back of it. We can also just get a chute on the back of it. So if you want to have it come off a chute and into a larger conveyor up into a higher pile, we can do that too. And the legs on this will actually go up quite a bit higher. So depending on what you have for conveyors to configure this is really going to depend on how high you have it or how you have your woodyard set up. But there's a lot of adjustability with it.
Yeah, you could do a lot of different things. You could set the processor up higher. You could have this lower, this go into a bin or into another conveyor. There's a lot of different things you could do.
There's a lot of ways you can set this up. And that's what we find too, because we deal with producers of every size. Everybody from somebody that's doing it just in their backyard on a weekend for their own firewood use. And we deal with guys that do thousands and thousands of cords of wood a year. So we see every side of it. And this kind of fits with almost everybody that's doing enough firewood to justify. It gives you a lot of variability with it, a lot of different ways to set it up.
I'll show them more of this later. I'll run it later on today. But I got a couple questions for you. How long has Eastonmade been around?
I've been doing Eastonmade for just a little over 10 years.
A little over 10 years.
Yeah.
How many splitters have you sold so far? Any idea?
If I were to guess, I'm going to say up around 4,000, 4,500 splitters in 10 years.
Really?
Yeah.
And how many different splitters do you have now?
Oh, geez, I would have
You don't even know, huh?
I wouldn't, off the top of my head, probably like 8 or 9 different base models, and then we have a lot of different configurations for them. Like we can set a splitter up a lot of different ways for people. Like we have ones with double log lifts. You can put a log lift on the other side, get an attached conveyor on one. We can pin the conveyor and the splitter together. So there's a lot of ways we can set up a splitter or a conveyor for somebody depending on how they want their woodyard set up or what they're planning on doing with it.
So horizontal or vertical? 50-50? What do you think?
50-50 for us. It's almost right down the middle, and everybody's got a different perspective on it. Like if you need a lot of really precise splits and you don't want the chaff, the vertical splitter is the way to go, because you can make the pieces whatever size you want, or if you have a knot on, you can split around the knot. But they're not going to be near as fast as the horizontal either. So you get a horizontal with a box wedge, that's probably as fast as you're going to make it without going to a 12-way. But you get into a bigger wood with a 12-way or a 16-way wedge, and you got to pull that wood back. So there's a downside to that too. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways of doing it.
Let's walk down here by the Evo. How many Evos have you built so far?
I'm going to say probably in around 35 or 40 of them.
Wow.
We've been doing a couple a week is kind of what we've been averaging since yours has come out. So
any of these go out west yet? Western US?
I don't know if we've got any out west yet or not. I think we do have a couple that are sold for out west. I don't know if the guys have got them yet though.
Yeah.
Like we're probably about a month or 5 weeks behind what our projected dates are right now. Just because we had an incredible influx of them. So a lot of guys, you might have told them however much time, but you might have sold 3 or 4 machines in between that. So yeah, it adjusted a lot. And then we've done a lot internally in the shop to structure it so these things get built properly, the quality's there, and it's on time too. So we spend a lot of time in the shop doing that.
How about gas versus diesel on the Evos?
It's probably I would say 60 or 70% diesel, 25, 30% gas, I would say, and around there. A lot of guys are going to buy one, they want to go up into the diesel because you have better performance out of it.
See, the performance is unbelievable with the diesel, but I looked at it more as just a longevity thing. I just prefer a diesel engine. You know what I mean?
Longevity is a big thing, and fuel consumption too. You're not going to burn near as much fuel in the diesel, and the longevity thing, like a normal commercial gas engine, either whether it be a GX Honda, the Kohlers, Cowies, the Vanguards that we run. They're normally rated for between 2,000 and 2,500 hours before they're junk. That's kind of what everybody rates them at. Like that Deutz diesel, it's good for 20,000 hours. So there's a huge difference in that. And then long-term maintenance with it too. Like oil changes a lot farther in between them. It's just a lot
I love that Deutz. I do.
It is a nice running engine.
And you know what surprised me? My Vermeer has a Kohler diesel in it.
Yep.
And I was shocked. Anything that doesn't require DEF fluid, because what I do, I jump around a bunch of different things. I might run the Sawmill for a little bit. I come to here. Now, my Sawmill's got a Yanmar. Now, it's running wide open most of the time when it's sawing, so I don't have a lot of regens. But like my tractor, you know, if you're plowing snow, you want your tractor to warm up. You're sitting there idling it. So, then you got to shut off it once it redo a regen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love that Deutz.
Yeah.
I do. That's a sweet. That's 74 horsepower.
74 horse. So you're just right at the cutoff for it. It runs nice. We've had really good service from our dealer for them. So we have to buy them through a distributor or a dealer, and they've been really good to work with in that regards. Because there's different. Depending on which brand you go with, like there's different commercial or industrial engines, right? So like Kubota, for example, like normally like a wood processor, you don't go to a normal dealer for that. It's your industrial division that looks after that. So the service network for that isn't quite as large as say what a Cat would be.
Yeah.
Where Cat's sort of set up like that, but they're a little more lenient on it. So, and then Deutz, it's worldwide. They're just an engine, right? So it's really easy to get service out of the Deutz. And we found that even with the Vanguards too. Like the service from Vanguard over Honda has been dramatically different in our regards. If we have had an issue with them, they're right on the ball to get it fixed for us. And that goes a long ways because customers have to run. Guys have to be running their equipment. So,
do you remember where your first splitter you made is?
Oh, yeah. I went to a town called Powassan.
It's up your way?
Yeah, Powassan is not too far from North Bay, and it that was a bit of an adventure, that one. The fellow that bought it was an Amish lad, a really nice guy. He called Dad up looking for a splitter. He said, sorry, we don't do splitters. But my son had it was right when I left Bell's, and Dad's like, my son's going to give it a shot, give him a call. And I don't know how I talked Marty into it. I said, he called me up, and he said, I'm looking at a Timberwolf. And that time they had the TW5s, TW6s, like the older platform. And I said, I'm pretty sure I can build you a wood splitter that's going to be able to compete with that. It's going to be priced a little bit lower, but it's going to be a good machine. So, okay. I honestly I didn't talk to the guy for like 6 weeks or whatever. And I was in this time, I was trying to get the whole business structure, like everything done, like, and have this machine built and ready on time for him. And
were you just like working out of your garage or something then?
Literally my basement. Yeah. Like I had a 24 by 24 garage, little wee spot that I started, and I worked out of there for probably about a year. I worked out of the basement, and then I actually bought my dad's house where I grew up. He was a logging contractor, so there's a big shop there. So there's two garages. There was like a 40 by 80 where the big shop is, and then there was a smaller garage of 24 by 30 or 24, probably in around there. So we worked out of the small shop for a year because the guy had bought Dad's business, had a lease on the big building for another year. So we changed shop a couple of times there. And the first couple of shops were pretty small, like a little wood stove in the corner and painted inside, and it was it was a really you learn though, right? That's kind of where you got to start and keep pushing, right?
You've grown at a rapid but a steady pace, right? Like just that's nice. The steady and consistent growth, not ups and downs and all.
It's been a pretty steady trajectory. Like every year we doubled up until probably 2 or 3 years ago, but then there's only so much market in North America that we can bring wood splitters into or processors. There's only so much that can go into that market. So that's kind of the point where we're at right now, is we either need to sell to different markets. Like we've started to move to Europe a little wee bit. We're working with a fellow in Australia right now. And then
Australia, they do all like 12-inch wood there, huh?
It is, yeah. And then the UK is like that. England, like it's all small, short stuff. It's a different mentality. The guys in the UK don't want a splitter with an inch on. They want to run PTO. And same as the guys if you're in Germany, they want longer wood. They want to be able to split stuff that's a meter long. They want to be able to do it in billets. So
really,
that's kind of where we have to get dynamic and start building new machines. And then for the North American customers, because we already have a good chunk of the North American market right now, we're starting to build different products that we can sell to the same customers. So
right,
we have like our bundlers. We're starting to come up with a line of grapples. I'm going to do some more attachments and stuff like that, implements. So that's kind of how we're going to continue to grow the business and build it.
it's nice. You don't sit back. You got to, because like you could have had a guy that bought a splitter 5 years ago. His business is growing. All of a sudden, he's got one of these now.
We have found that most of the customers that are buying the Evos are repeat customers. A lot of them are that have had a 1222, a 2228, and access. They've been able to build their business and scale it. And that's been a pretty rewarding thing for myself to be able to do, is to be able to help other people build their business. That's been the exciting part of it. There's a handful of guys that I've seen that we've started at the same time when they started with a little splitter, and some of the guys are up into like a 60C big firewood operation now. So
yeah, it's
cool to see that and see that progression. That's been a really rewarding thing.
I'm sure you're going to Bunyan this year.
Oh, we'll be at Paul Bunyan, yeah. It's
and Boonville's coming right up.
Boonville's coming up, and then Escanaba's coming up. We have
where's Escanaba, Michigan?
Michigan. It's in the UP.
Okay.
So it's a very top of Lake Michigan. Kind of, you're only about an hour outside of Wisconsin.
Okay.
It's a cool show. Like a lot of good gear at Escanaba. We have a couple of machines. There's still a couple of slots available for Escanaba if somebody's looking for a machine. And then same as Paul Bunyan. I think we have a couple of slots still open there for Paul Bunyan show too, which is pretty uncommon for us. We normally have those shows sold out,
yeah,
like a long ways ahead of time. But
yeah, this is quite the setup. So this was all just an idea. What, about a year ago? The Evo, a year and a half ago?
Yeah. Like we came out with the 40C, and the 40C was sort of supposed to be kind of like this, and we went down a rabbit hole. So if anybody's checked out the 40C, it's a pretty cool machine. It'll actually run itself, the 40C. It's a pretty cool machine. And then when we got that project done, I said we got to focus on something in that $60,000 to $70,000 range that a normal guy can purchase and start a business with. So that's what we came up with the Evo. And there's a handful of things, like we wanted to make sure that we were going to build a machine in that range. We were going to build a good machine. There's a lot of machines in that price range that they work okay, but there's a lot of room for improvement there. So that's what we kind of did with the Evo, is we all put our heads together, and this is what we came up with. I'm lucky enough that I've got a really good crew of guys that are really well experienced in firewood processors and logging equipment and splitters and stuff. So
yeah, this basically will produce as much wood as some of the bigger machines. It might not have all the bells and whistles of some of the things.
That's exactly it. Like this machine here is kind of like our back to basics machine.
Yeah.
In terms of production and throughput with this machine, in a certain size wood, that 12, 14, 15 inch wood, this is probably going to produce almost as much as a big machine. And then having the features of like the 16-way wedge in it, it makes it a lot more desirable. When you get it up into like one of our 48Cs or 60Cs with cab on, they're like a Cadillac. Like you're running a Rolls Royce.
Yeah, like, it's sitting in an air-conditioned cab. What do you call the thing that will spin your log around in there if it lands wrong?
We call it the log roller. So it's like a live log repositioning. So it's like, you know yourself, if one falls in there, you kind of got to screw around and pull it out. Where on the bigger machines, you don't have that. Like you can spin it around, you can manipulate it, you can turn the knot up. If it does get into a really bad position, you can drop the door, get the block right out of there. So you can do all this from sitting inside the cab. So it is a really nice setup for somebody that's going to be running thousands of cord of wood a year, or 1,000. Yeah. It's a really, really nice setup. If somebody can afford to.
This is probably what, 100 to 500 cord a year machine?
You're probably in around there, yeah. Somewhere in around there. Yeah. And like depending on how hard you want to run it too. Like if you don't mind sitting out there in the sun and the cold or whatever, you can put a pile of wood through it. It's built heavy enough that you can do that and run it commercially.
Right.
So
that's good. You've come a long way in 10 years.
It's been a ride, yeah. There's
10 years isn't that long a period of time, really.
no, it's not, and it's funny too. If you don't have the bad days, you never appreciate the good ones.
Right.
So there's been lots of ups and downs with it, and thankfully my wife's been as patient of a woman as she is, and everybody around me like that.
Can we tell who picked the orange and blue story?
The orange and blue. Well, the orange and blue story. I would not have picked orange and blue myself. I didn't want orange and blue at all. I was doing the first machine there. Like, I gotta have like a two-tone paint. Like, I want to have two colors there, and I don't know. There's a red machine. The Timberwolf was red, and there was a couple. There's green one. Built Right was green. Like, geez, I really kind of like orange. And Stacy's friend from across the bar, we're sitting there having a couple of beers at the local pub. And she said, "Blue and orange Denver Broncos." I said, "There's no way in hell I'm painting anything blue and orange. I'm not doing it. No way." And then Stacy's like, "Oh, they're complementary colors." I'm like, nah, no way. They're not. It's not going blue and orange. And they got talking about the Denver Broncos, the New York Islanders, the Florida Gators. Like, if you look at it, a lot of orange and blue goes together, right? So you know what? I'll try it. I'll go to. I went to Home Hardware. It'd be like our little hardware store there. They got some orange trim clad and some blue trim clad, and they put it together. And you know what? It looked all right.
It does. It looks good.
Yeah. So it turned out okay.
That's
turned
awesome.
out okay. All the new ones are all powder coated. All of our stuff's powder coated now.
Do you do your own powder coating?
We do everything in house. Yeah. Like we have the way the shop's set up. If you're ever in the shop, it's set up sort of like a carousel. Like, stuff comes in one end of it, and it circles around, goes through paint, then out the back door. So it's a big project to get it all set up like that, but it runs really nice now. Like, it's a good setup. And again, good help is what makes it work. Like, that's a big part of it. We have a lot of people that you don't see behind the scenes putting stuff together that are doing an incredible job. They're really good at what they do.
Well, that's good, man. This is going to be, we're getting set up here now. I'm excited. I will, later today, I'll run this some, show you guys how everything works, how the conveyor moves. It's a great setup, though. It's I'm excited. I am. I think the 2-inch slots are perfect for me.
I think most people, the 2 inch is going to be what they're going to want.
Yeah.
And I for some guys, it's going to be trial and error. The nice thing about it is that drums aren't terribly expensive, and you can pull them in. Now, to pull the drum off, you just have to split the chain, lift them out.
Yeah.
So if a guy wanted to have a couple of different drums, depending on what he was doing, he can do that too. Right. And we've even talked to a handful of guys that might run like 2 or 3 of these in series too, right? So you might have one with a 1-inch spacing up the conveyor into the next one, sort of thing too, right? So we have it currently plumbed to the Evo right now, but I also have a power pack if I'd want to just use the conveyor in a different configuration or something, or not be running the processor, we could do that as well. Yeah, and that's kind of the cool thing. It's really something you got to use your imagination with to make sure it's going to work the way you want it to. Yeah. It's going to be a trial and error thing for a lot of guys to figure out what's going to work best for their particular operation. Right. Well, it looks good, Andrew. Nice job. No, I'm happy with that turned out. That was a beautiful day here in Pennsylvania. So better than the last time you were here. A lot better. I'm a lot drier. Yeah. I'm not rolled around in the mud, so that's all right. Yeah. Derek's back there laughing at me.
right, so today, back down at the wood yard here, and Levi and I just did something that we should have done a long time ago. We just put the 16-way wedge in the Evo. I've been running a 12-way, which I thought was just about perfect for most of the things that I was cutting and splitting. But looking at it now, I think the 16-way wedge is going to be about all we run. Because if you got a small log and you position the wedge properly, I think it's going to be fine for the smaller logs and the big ones. And I was talking to Andrew yesterday, and he kept asking me, did I put the 16-way wedge on? I said, nah, I'm not into the big stuff yet. And yesterday he said, try that 16-way, and he thinks that'll be all I run, and I'm pretty sure he's right. But I got just a few decent sized logs here on the deck. I got a little bit of a red oak left, another red oak, and this stuff is pretty clean. I mean, the bark is just starting to come off of this, so the tumbler will help clean that up. But I'm anxious to see what it looks like with this right here. That's a hickory right there. They can get real stringy and a lot of debris. So between the 16-way wedge and the new tumbler, we're going to see what kind of finished product that it makes. Alright, so check this out. I probably cut and split less than a cord of wood. Maybe half, 3/4 of a cord so far with the tumbler. And this is what it removed. So a full cord of wood, you would normally have more debris than that mixed in with it, and it took all of that out of it. I would say it removes 90% of the debris. It would also really shine if your firewood was just dirty. You know, if you were splitting into a pile on the ground, then you could run it through the tumbler and it would clean it up. But that's hickory on top right there, and some red oak mixed in there with it. It's fantastic. It really is. It's a game changer. So today I'm just kind of getting familiarized with this and tweaking my setup a little bit. But I mentioned the other day, this will not be where this is running all the time. At some point here, probably in the near future, we're going to move the entire wood yard for some more room. I'm not 100% sure where or how, but it's in the works. I'll tell you that right now. One thing I think I'm going to do is have everything on a couple different levels. The processor will be at the highest level. That way I can lower that conveyor down a little bit. Occasionally you get some buildup in there, and you can just keep splitting right through it. You'll lose some pieces over the side here and there. But if I could drop that down just like a foot, 2 feet, you know what I mean? And then this would be on another level, and then have a wood bunker lower than that. And I also got the big Wolfe ridge conveyor, so we can incorporate that into it as well. This will move side to side, so you know, you could go into a wood bunker, swing it over, fill firewood baskets. We like stacking in a basket, but that's something you could do. Or you could dump this into the other conveyor. There's just a lot to think about, but we're definitely on the right track. There's no doubt about it. She cleans up the wood. Sometimes I got to pinch myself, because it was about 7 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, I was down here in this wood yard, and there was a deer feeder right here, and I was splitting all my firewood with a little Tractor Supply 22-ton log splitter, and it did a good job. But obviously things have evolved over the time, and we can get a lot more done in a lot less time. I mean, a lot less time. But anyway, I think that's about it for today's video. I appreciate you all being here, I really do, and I will catch you on the next one.